Do your emotions sometimes feel like they're running the show? Maybe you've reacted in ways you later regretted, or struggled to understand why certain situations trigger intense feelings. You're not alone, and there's a skill that can transform how you experience and navigate your emotional world. That skill is emotional intelligence, and today we're diving into practical, actionable ways you can develop it starting right now. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed by anger and said something you wished you could take back, or that moment when anxiety paralyzed you before an important conversation. Maybe you've watched relationships deteriorate because you couldn't quite express what you were feeling, or you've made decisions in the heat of the moment that didn't align with who you want to be. These experiences are universal. We all have emotions. They're part of being human. But here's what most people don't realize. There's an enormous difference between having emotions and understanding them, between feeling something intensely and knowing how to work with that feeling constructively. Emotional intelligence isn't about suppressing your feelings or becoming emotionless. It's not about being calm and collected all the time, or never experiencing anger, sadness, or fear. That's not realistic, and honestly, it's not even desirable. Our emotions carry important information about our needs, our values, and what matters to us. Instead, emotional intelligence is about developing a deeper, more conscious relationship with your emotions, understanding them, learning from them, and using that insight to make better choices in your life. It's about recognizing what you're feeling in real time, understanding why you're feeling it, and then deciding how you want to respond rather than just reacting automatically. Think of it as building emotional fitness. Just like physical fitness helps your body handle stress, recover from challenges, and perform better in daily life, emotional fitness helps you navigate relationships with more skill, handle difficulties with greater resilience, and create a life that feels more authentic and aligned with who you truly are. The beautiful thing about emotional intelligence is that it's not fixed. You're not born with a set amount that never changes. It's a skill that can be developed, strengthened, and refined throughout your entire life. Whether you're someone who feels emotions intensely or someone who tends to disconnect from feelings altogether, you can grow in this area. And the benefits? They touch every aspect of your life. Better relationships, both personal and professional, improved decision-making abilities, greater resilience during tough times, more effective communication, deeper self-awareness, increased empathy and connection with others, even better physical health, as chronic stress and emotional suppression take a real toll on the body. So if you're ready to develop this essential skill and transform how you experience your emotional world, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future content on personal development and growth. Today, we're exploring 10 practical, research-backed approaches to building emotional intelligence. These aren't abstract concepts. They're actionable strategies you can start using immediately to create real change in your life. Let's dive in. Number 1. Become an observer of your own emotions. The first and most fundamental step in developing emotional intelligence is cultivating awareness. You can't manage what you're not aware of, and most people move through their days on emotional autopilot, reacting, responding, and experiencing feelings without ever really noticing them until they've built up into something overwhelming. Becoming an observer of your emotions means stepping back from your experience just enough to notice what's happening inside you. It's like becoming a scientist studying your own inner world. You're not trying to change anything yet. You're simply gathering data. Start paying attention to your emotional patterns throughout the day. When do you feel most energized and alive? When does your energy drain away? What situations consistently trigger frustration, anxiety, or defensiveness? Are there certain people who always seem to affect your mood in predictable ways? What time of day do you feel most emotionally vulnerable? Most people have significant blind spots when it comes to their emotions. They might not realize they're angry until they snap at someone. They might not recognize their anxiety until they're lying awake at 2 a.m. with racing thoughts. They might feel fine all day, only to crash into exhaustion or irritability in the evening because they've been suppressing stress the entire time. Here's a practical exercise to build this awareness. Set 3 random alarms on your phone throughout the day, maybe 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m. When each alarm goes off, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, pause for just 60 seconds and check in with yourself. Ask yourself these questions. What emotion am I experiencing right now? Don't settle for basic answers like good or bad. Get specific. Are you content, anxious, excited, frustrated, overwhelmed, peaceful, bored, energized, worried? Next, where do you feel this emotion in your body? Emotions aren't just mental experiences, they show up physically. Does your chest feel tight? Is your jaw clenched? Do you feel a knot in your stomach? Is there tension in your shoulders? Do you feel lightness or heaviness? This body awareness is crucial because often your body knows you're stressed before your mind consciously registers it. Then ask, what might have triggered this emotion? What was happening just before this alarm went off? Were you working on a difficult task? Did you just have a conversation? Were you scrolling social media? Sometimes the trigger is obvious, but other times you might be surprised by what you discover. Finally, what thoughts are accompanying this emotion? Our emotions and thoughts are deeply interconnected. What story are you telling yourself right now? What are you worried about or focused on? This simple practice builds your emotional vocabulary and helps you spot patterns you might have missed before. After a week of doing this, you might notice that you always feel anxious after checking your email in the morning, or that you feel most creative and energized in the late afternoon, or that certain types of tasks consistently drain you while others energize you. You might discover that you're carrying low-level stress throughout most of your day without even realizing it, or that you feel lonely more often than you acknowledged, or that specific situations trigger shame or inadequacy that you've been pushing away. This awareness is powerful because it gives you choices. Once you can identify what you're feeling and what triggers it, you can start to respond intentionally rather than just reacting automatically. You're no longer at the mercy of your emotions, you're developing a relationship with them. Number 2, create space between feeling and reacting. Here's a powerful truth that can change your life. You don't have to act on every emotion you feel. There's a gap between stimulus and response, between feeling something and doing something about it, and that gap is where your power lies. Most of us operate on what feels like an instant connection between feeling and action. Someone criticizes us, and immediately we're defending ourselves. A driver cuts us off, and we're reacting before we even consciously decide to. It feels automatic, like we have no choice. But here's what's actually happening. Your amygdala, the alarm center of your brain, detects a threat and triggers a flood of stress hormones. However, you do have a window of opportunity to engage your prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, before you act. The problem is, this window is small, and if you don't intentionally access it, your reactive patterns will run the show. Think about the last time you sent an angry text you immediately regretted, or snapped at someone you care about. In each situation, there was a moment, brief but real, where you could have chosen differently. Here's where the science gets interesting. Neuroanatomist Jill Bolte Taylor discovered that when you experience an emotion and don't feed it with additional thoughts, the actual chemical response in your body lasts about 90 seconds. What keeps an emotion going beyond that? Your thinking, the story you tell yourself. Each thought re-triggers the emotional response, creating what feels like one long experience, but is actually a series of 90-second cycles you're perpetuating. So how do you create this space? Here are 3 practical techniques. First, use the count to 10 method. When you feel a strong emotion arising, pause and count slowly to 10. Not quickly, actually slowly. Take a breath between each number. This engages your prefrontal cortex and breaks the automatic pattern. Second, focus on your breath. Shift all your attention to breathing. Notice the sensation of air moving in and out. After observing for a few breaths, slow it down deliberately. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. This activates your calming nervous system. Third, observe the emotion as a physical sensation without attaching a story. Notice, I'm feeling tightness in my chest. There's heat in my face. Just describe the sensations neutrally. Don't think about why or what it means. If you can observe without adding fuel through thinking, the intensity naturally decreases. Here's what this looks like in practice. Your boss sends critical feedback on your project. Instead of immediately writing a defensive response, you pause. You take 3 deep breaths. You notice the physical sensations. You count to 10 slowly. After that pause, you're in a completely different state. Now you can ask, what outcome do I actually want here? What's the most constructive way to respond? This space doesn't mean suppressing emotions. It means choosing how and when to express them in ways that serve you. Number 3, master the art of active listening. Most of us listen with the intent to reply rather than to truly understand. We're already formulating our response, thinking about our own similar experience, or planning what we'll say next while the other person is still talking. This isn't real listening. It's waiting for our turn to speak. But genuine listening is one of the most powerful ways to build both your emotional intelligence and your relationships. When you truly listen to someone, you're not just hearing their words, you're tuning into their emotions, their underlying needs, and what they're really trying to communicate beneath the surface. Here's what real listening looks like. In your next conversation, make a conscious decision to focus entirely on understanding the other person's perspective. Notice their tone of voice. Is it excited, hesitant, frustrated, sad? Pay attention to their body language. Are they leaning in or pulling back, making eye contact or looking away? Are their shoulders tense or relaxed? These nonverbal cues often communicate more than words ever could. Listen for the emotions behind their words. Someone might say, "I'm fine with whatever we decide," but their tone and body language might tell you they actually have strong feelings about it. They might share a story that seems casual on the surface, but you can hear the hurt or disappointment underneath. Resist the urge to interrupt, fix their problem, or share your own story. Just listen. Be fully present with them. This is harder than it sounds, especially in our distraction-filled world, but it's incredibly valuable. When they finish speaking, try reflecting back what you heard. It sounds like you're feeling frustrated because the project keeps getting delayed and you're worried about the deadline. This does 2 powerful things. First, it validates their experience. They feel heard and understood, which is a fundamental human need. Second, it ensures you actually understood what they were communicating. Sometimes they'll say, "Yes, exactly," and sometimes they'll clarify, "Not quite. I'm more worried about letting the team down than the deadline itself." This practice of reflective listening opens up deeper, more honest conversations. People feel safe sharing more when they know you're genuinely trying to understand rather than judge, fix, or relate everything back to yourself. Active listening also dramatically improves your emotional intelligence because you're constantly practicing reading emotions, understanding perspectives different from your own, and developing empathy. You're training yourself to notice subtle emotional cues that most people miss. Number 4. Challenge your automatic interpretations. Our emotions are often driven not by situations themselves, but by the stories we tell ourselves about those situations. Someone doesn't text back, and we immediately assume they're upset with us. We make a mistake at work and conclude we're incompetent. A friend cancels plans, and we decide they don't value our friendship. These automatic interpretations happen so quickly that we don't even realize we're making them, but they have enormous power over our emotional state. The reality is that our minds are meaning-making machines, constantly interpreting events and filling in gaps with assumptions. The problem is that these interpretations are often inaccurate, overly negative, or based on past experiences that don't apply to the current situation. And once we've made an interpretation, our brain looks for evidence to support it while ignoring evidence that contradicts it. This is where cognitive flexibility becomes crucial. It's the ability to step back from your automatic thoughts and examine them objectively, like a detective looking for evidence rather than just accepting your first interpretation as truth. Here's how to practice this. When you notice a strong negative emotion, pause and identify the thought behind it. What story are you telling yourself? What interpretation have you made? Then ask yourself 3 powerful questions. First, is this definitely true? Not, could it be true, but is it definitely provably true? Most of the time, you'll realize your interpretation is just one possibility, not a confirmed fact. Second, what else could be true? Challenge yourself to come up with at least 3 alternative explanations. Maybe your friend isn't upset with you. Maybe they're overwhelmed with their own life. Maybe that mistake at work doesn't mean you're incompetent. Maybe you were working with incomplete information. Third, what would I tell a friend in this situation? We're often much more compassionate and realistic with others than we are with ourselves. This question helps you access that wiser, more balanced perspective. This practice isn't about forced positive thinking or denying real problems. It's about realistic thinking. It's about recognizing that your first interpretation isn't always accurate, and that you have the power to examine your thoughts rather than being controlled by them. Number 5. Develop proactive stress management. Stress is inevitable, but how we handle it determines whether it becomes toxic or manageable. Most people deal with stress reactively, waiting until they're overwhelmed before doing anything about it. But emotional intelligence involves proactive stress management, which means recognizing early warning signs and having strategies ready before you hit your breaking point. The first step is understanding that stress isn't just mental. It shows up in your body, your behavior, and your thinking patterns. When you learn to recognize these signs early, you can intervene before you're in crisis mode. Start by identifying your personal stress signals. For some people, it's physical: tension headaches, jaw clenching, stomach issues, trouble sleeping, or changes in appetite. Your body is often the first to register stress, sometimes days before you consciously acknowledge feeling overwhelmed. For others, it's behavioral: snapping at people, withdrawing socially, reaching for unhealthy coping mechanisms, or letting healthy habits slide. You might notice you're procrastinating more, canceling plans, or isolating yourself. For many, it's cognitive: racing thoughts, difficulty concentrating, constant worry, or an inability to make decisions. You might find yourself catastrophizing or feeling like everything is urgent and important. Once you know your early warning signs, You can intervene before stress spirals out of control. This might mean setting better boundaries at work, saying no to additional commitments, or scheduling downtime into your calendar like any other important appointment. The key is treating stress management as preventive care, not emergency response. Build a comprehensive stress management toolkit with techniques you can use in different situations. For acute stress, when you're in the middle of a stressful situation and need immediate relief, try the physiological sigh. Take 2 sharp inhales through your nose, followed by a long exhale through your mouth. Research from Stanford shows this breathing pattern quickly calms your nervous system by offloading carbon dioxide and activating your parasympathetic response. You can also try progressive muscle relaxation, where you systematically tense and release different muscle groups, or the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique, where you identify 5 things you can see, 4 you can touch, 3 you can hear, 2 you can smell, and 1 you can taste. For chronic stress, the ongoing accumulated tension that builds over time, you need regular practices, not just emergency interventions. This might include daily exercise, which is one of the most effective stress reducers because it metabolizes stress hormones and releases endorphins. It could be meditation or mindfulness practices that train your nervous system to return to baseline more quickly. Spending time in nature has been shown to lower cortisol levels significantly. Creative activities like art, music, or writing give you an outlet for processing emotions. Quality social connection provides both support and perspective. Also crucial is distinguishing between what you can control and what you can't. So much of our stress comes from trying to control things outside our influence, other people's opinions, outcomes we can't determine, past events, or future possibilities that may never happen. This creates a constant state of tension because you're expending energy on things that won't respond to your efforts. Practice redirecting your energy toward what is within your control, your actions, your responses, your boundaries, your choices, how you spend your time, and what you give your attention to. When you notice yourself stressed about something, ask, "Is this within my control?" If not, practice accepting it and focusing instead on what you can actually influence. Number 6, cultivate self-compassion. Stress is inevitable, but how we handle it determines whether it becomes toxic or manageable. Most people deal with stress reactively, waiting until they're overwhelmed before doing anything about it. But emotional intelligence involves proactive stress management, which means recognizing early warning signs and having strategies ready before you hit your breaking point. The first step is understanding that stress isn't just mental. It shows up in your body, your behavior, and your thinking patterns. When you learn to recognize these signs early, you can intervene before you're in crisis mode. Start by identifying your personal stress signals. For some people, it's physical: tension headaches, jaw clenching, stomach issues, trouble sleeping, or changes in appetite. Your body is often the first to register stress, sometimes days before you consciously acknowledge feeling overwhelmed. For others, it's behavioral: snapping at people, withdrawing socially, reaching for unhealthy coping mechanisms, or letting healthy habits slide. You might notice you're procrastinating more, canceling plans, or isolating yourself. For many, it's cognitive: racing thoughts, difficulty concentrating, constant worry, or an inability to make decisions. You might find yourself catastrophizing or feeling like everything is urgent and important. Once you know your early warning signs, you can intervene before stress spirals out of control. This might mean setting better boundaries at work, saying no to additional commitments, or scheduling downtime into your calendar like any other important appointment. The key is treating stress management as preventive care, not emergency response. Build a comprehensive stress management toolkit with techniques you can use in different situations. For acute stress, when you're in the middle of a stressful situation and need immediate relief, try the physiological sigh. Take 2 sharp inhales through your nose, followed by a long exhale through your mouth. Research from Stanford shows this breathing pattern quickly calms your nervous system by offloading carbon dioxide and activating your parasympathetic response. You can also try progressive muscle relaxation, where you systematically tense and release different muscle groups, or the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique, where you identify 5 things you can see, 4 you can touch, 3 you can hear, 2 you can smell, and 1 you can taste. For chronic stress, the ongoing accumulated tension that builds over time, you need regular practices, not just emergency interventions. This might include daily exercise, which is one of the most effective stress reducers because it metabolizes stress hormones and releases endorphins. It could be meditation or mindfulness practices that train your nervous system to return to baseline more quickly. Spending time in nature has been shown to lower cortisol levels significantly. Creative activities like art, music, or writing give you an outlet for processing emotions. Quality social connection provides both support and perspective. Also crucial is distinguishing between what you can control and what you can't. So much of our stress comes from trying to control things outside our influence, other people's opinions, outcomes we can't determine, past events, or future possibilities that may never happen. This creates a constant state of tension because you're expending energy on things that won't respond to your efforts. Practice redirecting your energy toward what is within your control, your actions, your responses, your boundaries, your choices, how you spend your time, and what you give your attention to. When you notice yourself stressed about something, ask, "Is this within my control?" If not, practice accepting it and focusing instead on what you can actually influence. Number 7. Set and honor your boundaries. Emotional intelligence includes knowing what matters to you and being able to communicate it clearly. When you're unclear about your values and boundaries, you end up feeling resentful, exhausted, or like you're living someone else's life. You say yes when you mean no, you tolerate treatment that doesn't feel right, and you sacrifice your own well-being to keep others comfortable. Boundaries aren't walls that keep people out. They're guidelines that teach others how to treat you and what you will and won't accept. They're essential for healthy relationships and emotional well-being. Without boundaries, relationships become unbalanced and resentment builds on both sides. With clear boundaries, relationships can be authentic and sustainable. Many people struggle with boundaries because they confuse them with being selfish, mean, or uncaring. But the opposite is true. Boundaries allow you to show up as your best self in relationships because you're not depleted, resentful, or performing a version of yourself that isn't genuine. When you honor your own needs and limits, you can be more present and generous with others from a place of genuine choice rather than obligation. Start by identifying your core values. What matters most to you? Connection, growth, creativity, freedom, honesty, respect, peace. Once you're clear on these, you can make decisions and set boundaries that honor them. For example, if you value deep connection, you might set a boundary around not staying in superficial conversations that feel draining. If you value creativity, you might protect time in your schedule that's non-negotiable for creative work. Boundaries can take many forms. Physical boundaries are about personal space, touch, and privacy. Who can touch you, when and how, as well as your physical environment and possessions. Emotional boundaries are about not accepting verbal abuse, not being responsible for managing others' emotions, and not allowing others to project their issues onto you. Time boundaries protect your schedule and energy. not being available 24/7, not letting others monopolize your time, and saying no to commitments that don't align with your priorities. Mental boundaries are about not engaging with certain topics that aren't healthy for you, not accepting others' judgments or criticisms as truth, and protecting your right to your own thoughts and opinions. Material boundaries involve how you handle money, possessions, and resources. The hardest part about boundaries isn't setting them, it's maintaining them. People who are used to you not having boundaries will test them, either consciously or unconsciously. They might push back, get upset, guilt trip you, or try to negotiate. This is where you need to stay firm and consistent. Remember that you're not responsible for managing their disappointment or discomfort with your boundaries. Practice saying no to things that don't align with your values and yes to things that do, even when it's uncomfortable. Remember that no is a complete sentence. You don't always owe people elaborate explanations or justifications for your boundaries. "That doesn't work for me," or "I'm not available for that," are perfectly acceptable responses. Also practice respecting others' boundaries. When someone says no, accept it without pushing, guilt-tripping, or making them feel bad about it. Don't take it personally or make it mean something about your worth or your relationship. This mutual respect creates healthier, more honest relationships for everyone involved. Number 8. Learn from your emotional experiences. Growth happens when we take time to process our experiences rather than just moving from one thing to the next. Every emotional experience carries information and lessons, but most people never stop to extract that wisdom. Set aside time weekly to reflect on emotional moments from your week. What triggered strong reactions? How did you handle them? What worked well? What would you do differently next time? What did you learn about yourself, your needs, or your patterns? This reflection turns experiences into wisdom. You're not just living life, you're learning from it. You start to see patterns more clearly. You notice what consistently triggers certain emotions. You recognize when you're repeating old patterns that don't serve you. Journaling is one of the most powerful tools for this reflection. Writing about your emotional experiences helps you process them, gain perspective, and identify insights you might miss otherwise. You don't need to write pages. Even a few paragraphs about a significant emotional experience can be valuable. Also, practice extracting lessons from difficult emotions and experiences. When something goes wrong or you feel terrible, resist the urge to just push it away and move on. Instead, ask, "What can I learn from this? What is this emotion telling me about what I need or value? How can I use this experience to grow?" This doesn't mean dwelling on negative experiences or ruminating endlessly. It means intentionally processing them, learning from them, and then letting them go. It's the difference between being haunted by your past and being educated by it. Number 9. Approach life with curiosity. Finally, cultivate a stance of curiosity toward yourself and others. Curiosity is the antidote to judgment, and judgment is one of the biggest obstacles to emotional intelligence. When you notice an emotion, get curious about it instead of judging it as good or bad. That's interesting that I felt defensive just now. I wonder what that's about. This curiosity opens the door to understanding rather than shutting it down with judgment. When someone acts in a way you don't understand, get curious about their perspective instead of immediately judging them. I wonder what's going on for them right now. What might be driving that behavior? This curiosity builds empathy and prevents unnecessary conflict. Curiosity also means being open to new information that might challenge your existing beliefs or interpretations. It means asking questions with genuine interest in the answers. It means admitting when you don't know something rather than pretending you do. Practice replacing why questions with what and how questions. Why did I do that? Often leads to justification or self-criticism. What was I feeling when I did that? How can I respond differently next time? Leads to insight and growth. Cultivate wonder about human behavior, including your own. People are complex, contradictory, and constantly changing. Every interaction is an opportunity to learn something new about yourself or others if you approach it with curiosity rather than thinking you already know everything. Building emotional intelligence is a lifelong practice, not a destination. Some days you'll handle things beautifully, and other days you'll react in ways you wish you hadn't. That's part of being human. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. It's about gradually expanding your capacity to understand yourself and others, to make conscious choices rather than automatic reactions, and to build a life that feels authentic and meaningful. These 10 strategies we've explored today: becoming an observer of your emotions, creating space between feeling and reacting, mastering active listening, building your emotional vocabulary, challenging automatic interpretations, developing proactive stress management, cultivating self-compassion, setting boundaries, learning from experiences, and approaching life with curiosity are all interconnected. As you develop one skill, you'll find it naturally supports the others. Start with 1 or 2 strategies that resonate most with you. Practice them consistently for a few weeks until they start to feel more natural. Then add another strategy. Over time, these practices become integrated into who you are and how you move through the world. Remember that emotional intelligence isn't about controlling your emotions or never feeling difficult feelings. It's about developing a healthy, conscious relationship with your emotional life. It's about using your emotions as information rather than being ruled by them. It's about responding to life's challenges with wisdom, compassion, and intentionality. Which of these 10 approaches resonates most with you? What's one thing you'll try this week? Share in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your journey with emotional intelligence. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might benefit. And remember to subscribe for more content on personal growth and living with greater intention. Thank you for investing this time in your emotional growth. The work you're doing matters, not just for you, but for everyone whose life you touch. As you develop greater emotional intelligence, you create ripples of positive change in all your relationships and interactions. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, be patient with yourself, stay curious, and keep growing.